The year is 1187, Jerusalem, a city steeped in history, a tapestry woven with threads of faith, conflict and longing. Its very stones whisper tales of empires long gone. Echoes of prayers in languages ancient and new rise from its heart. This is Jerusalem, a city claimed by many, yet belonging wholly to none. For centuries it has been the prize of emperors and the desire of kings. The air itself vibrates with the weight of its history, a solemn reminder of the countless souls who have walked its streets. From the Mount of Olives one can almost hear the whispers of prophets. The murmur of Roman legions echoes through the archways. The scent of incense from ancient temples lingers in the air. Every corner holds a memory, every stone a story. This is Jerusalem, a city that has witnessed both the best and worst of humanity, but through it all, it has endured, a testament to the power of faith and the resilience of the human spirit. Far beyond Jerusalem's walls a leader emerges, his name whispered on the wind. Saladin, a warrior tempered by wisdom, driven by justice. His vision was not conquest but reconciliation, a beacon of hope to the oppressed, a storm to tyrants. Saladin, the Lion of Islam, prepared to make his mark on history. The sun beat down on the besieged city of Jerusalem, a relentless sun that mirrored the fear simmering within. Saladin's armies advanced, casting a shadow over the holy city. The Christian inhabitants knew what awaited them if Jerusalem fell. They remembered the horrors of the First Crusade, the rivers of blood that had flowed through these very streets. Fear clung to the inhabitants, whispering in the shadows. Balian of Ibelin bore the weight of their terror. A seasoned knight, he had looked death in the eye before. This was the potential slaughter of innocents. He sought an audience with Saladin, a desperate plea for mercy. He spoke of innocent women and children, of the elderly and the infirm. He begged for a shred of mercy, a flicker of compassion. Silence descended upon the tent, heavy with anticipation. The fate of Jerusalem hung in the balance. Saladin considered Balian's plea. He sought to reclaim what was taken, not to shed blood. He had seen the horrors of war firsthand. A man of faith, he was uneasy about a bloodbath. Saladin's wisdom and justice prevailed. He would be remembered as a liberator. He offered lenient terms to Balian. The inhabitants could leave unharmed. No blood would be shed. It was an act of unprecedented compassion. Balian bowed in gratitude. Saladin offered salvation for all. True strength lay in compassion and forgiveness. He sought to heal old wounds. The news spread, transforming fear into hope. People dared to dream of life. Families emerged, faces etched with joy. Churches resonated with prayers of thanksgiving. Hymns of gratitude filled the air. Yet a palpable tension remained, clinging to the air like smoke from dying embers. Trust, once broken, is not easily rebuilt. The citizens of Jerusalem, though heartened by Saladin's mercy, remained wary. They moved with purpose, preparing for departure, hearts heavy with apprehension. The city itself seemed to hold its breath. The once vibrant marketplace stood deserted. The echo of Saladin's army hung over Jerusalem. Every creak, every rustle, sent shivers down spines. They were caught in limbo, fate hanging by a thread. And then, the day arrived. The gates of Jerusalem swung open. Saladin rode through the streets. There were no cheers, only stunned silence. It was the silence of disbelief and relief. As Saladin rode toward the Temple Mount, a new chapter began. A chapter promising peace built on mutual respect and understanding. The dust settled upon a Jerusalem hushed with apprehension. Gone were the shouts of battle, replaced by a silence almost deafening. Through the Jaffa gate Saladin rode not as a conqueror but as a pilgrim. He saw not a prize of war, but a sanctuary entrusted to his care. His first decree was one of reassurance. Saladin promised their safety, speaking as a compassionate leader. He ordered his guard to protect the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. His actions spoke louder than words, a testament to interfaith harmony. Saladin, a devout Muslim, understood the profound significance of Jerusalem to all three Abrahamic faiths. He knew that true peace could only be achieved through mutual respect and understanding. His next act, therefore, came as no surprise to those who truly knew the heart of the man. He ordered the restoration of the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque Islamic holy sites that had suffered neglect during the Crusader reign. The call to prayer, once muted, now rang out clear and strong from the minarets, echoing across the city like a long-awaited homecoming. Muslim scholars, their faces alight with joy, returned to the mosques, their voices filling the hallowed halls with recitations from the Quran. The air, once heavy with fear and uncertainty, now vibrated with the sound of prayer and devotion, a testament to the resilience of faith in the face of adversity. But Saladin's vision extended beyond the restoration of Islamic holy sites. He understood that Jerusalem, to truly fulfill its destiny as a city of peace, must embrace all faiths. He issued a decree that reverberated far beyond the city walls, a decree that shocked even his closest advisors, accustomed as they were to his wisdom and compassion. "Let the people of the book return," he declared, his voice echoing with quiet authority. "Let the Jews, who have long been exiled, come back to Jerusalem. Let the Christians worship in their churches, the Muslims in their mosques. For this city is not for one people but for all who call it holy." It was a radical declaration, one that flew in the face of centuries of religious intolerance and strife. Word of Saladin's decree spread like wildfire, carried on the winds to distant lands. From Cairo to Spain, hope ignited in hearts dreaming of returning to their forefathers' city. Caravans assembled, laden with hopes and dreams of generations past. The roads to Jerusalem now bore witness to a pilgrimage of peace. At the Jaffa Gate, families reunited, their tears a mixture of joy and sorrow. An elderly rabbi kissed the ground, his body racked with sobs. Beside him a Christian monk embraced a Muslim cleric. It was a scene of extraordinary poignancy, a testament to Saladin's vision. Across sun-baked lands from the Atlantic to the Nile, Saladin's decree resonated like a forgotten melody, tugging at heartstrings long bound by loss. For exiled Jews, scattered by fate, it was a beacon of hope, a whispered promise in the darkness. Could they, after generations of yearning, finally return to their ancestral city? The journey was arduous, fraught with peril and uncertainty. Families packed their meager belongings onto weary donkeys, eyes fixed on the eastern horizon, hearts filled with trepidation and anticipation. They traversed deserts and mountain passes, their faith tested by hardships, their resolve strengthened by the dream of returning to Zion. Each sunset brought them closer, each sunrise a testament to their unwavering faith. Along the way, they were joined by others, drawn by the same yearning for their spiritual homeland. They came from diverse lands, spoke different languages, yet were united by a shared history that transcended boundaries. As they neared Jerusalem, their steps grew lighter, their voices rose in prayer and song, ancient melodies carried on the wind. The Jaffa Gate, its ancient stones bearing the scars of countless seasons, stood as a silent sentinel, a gateway to a city steeped in history. For the returning exiles, it represented a threshold between a past marked by displacement and a future filled with possibility. As they approached, their pace slowed, steps hesitant, testing the reality of this long-awaited moment. Then, with a collective gasp, they crossed the threshold, eyes widening at the sight. Jerusalem, bathed in the golden glow of the late afternoon sun, rose before them like a vision. A collective sigh, a mixture of awe and relief, swept through the crowd. They had arrived, they were home. Tears flowed freely, mingling with the dust of the journey. Elders wept openly, their frail hands trembling as they touched the ancient stones. Children, eyes wide with wonder, gazed upon the city of their forefathers, struggling to grasp the significance of this moment. The streets of Jerusalem, once quiet with worry, now buzzed with life. You could hear Hebrew everywhere, mixing with Arabic and Latin like a beautiful song of people talking together. The Jewish quarter, empty for so long, woke up again. Its small streets were filled with the sounds of people buying and selling, and neighbors talking. Gap 2S. In the synagogues, quiet for too long, people started studying the Torah again. The smell of fresh bread floated from doorways, reminding everyone of home and old traditions. Artists opened shops, turning simple things into beautiful and useful objects. Special writers carefully copied old books, making sure the wise words from long ago wouldn't be forgotten. Life, with all its good and bad parts, came back to the Jewish quarter. It showed how strong the Jewish people were. They didn't give up, even when they were forced to leave their home. Coming back to Jerusalem gave them a new reason to keep going. They wanted to rebuild and make a great future, to honor all the hard times their ancestors went through. Being in Jerusalem meant they were close to God again, and it reminded them of their special promise with Him. Saladin's vision of a Jerusalem where faiths coexisted in genuine harmony began to take root. Muslim soldiers guarding Christian holy sites became a reassuring constant, a symbol of tolerance and mutual respect. In marketplaces, Muslim, Christian, and Jewish merchants engaged in lively banter, their transactions conducted with fairness and camaraderie. Children played together, oblivious to the centuries of strife that had divided their ancestors. In olive groves, scholars from different faiths engaged in spirited debates, their voices rising and falling in passionate argument, tempered by mutual respect. They debated philosophy, theology, law, and history, forging bonds of understanding that transcended religious differences. Saladin, observing these signs of harmony, knew the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. Old prejudices would not disappear overnight, and the scars of past conflicts would take time to heal. Yet, he remained optimistic, buoyed by the belief that the seeds of tolerance and understanding had the power to blossom into something extraordinary. The sight of diverse faiths coexisting in harmony was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the Jerusalem sky in hues of apricot and rose. A gentle breeze rustled through the gardens of Saladin's palace, a tranquil oasis away from the bustling city. On this evening, the garden was prepared for a gathering of a most unusual nature. Beneath a sprawling olive tree, a low table was set, laden with dates, figs, and mint tea. 3 figures awaited the Sultan's arrival: a Christian bishop, a Muslim imam, and a Jewish rabbi. They had been summoned by Saladin, not as representatives of their communities, but as individuals whose wisdom he esteemed. Each man embodied the principles of tolerance and understanding that Saladin sought to foster. As Saladin entered, a hush fell over the gathering. He greeted each man with a warm embrace, conveying respect beyond formalities. For a brief moment, the weight of history seemed to dissipate, replaced by a fragile hope for a different future. The conversation flowed effortlessly, meandering through shared history, philosophical discourse, and theological debate. Saladin, a scholar in his own right, listened intently, his questions demonstrating a keen intellect and genuine desire to understand differing perspectives. The Christian bishop spoke of a God of love and forgiveness, transcending human understanding. He emphasized compassion and mercy, extending friendship even to those most different. "We are all children of God," he said, "created in His image, regardless of the path we choose." The Muslim imam spoke of a God of justice and righteousness, demanding obedience and submission. He emphasized humility and surrender, recognizing the transient nature of earthly existence. "We are vessels," he said, "molded by the divine potter, our duty to live lives of service and devotion." The Jewish rabbi spoke of a God of covenant and redemption, entrusting a people with a sacred mission. He emphasized tradition and remembrance, preserving the stories and teachings of their ancestors. As the evening deepened, the conversation turned to the challenges of rebuilding trust and fostering harmony. Saladin acknowledged the deep-seated prejudices and suspicions that poisoned relations between communities. "We cannot erase the past," he conceded, "but we can learn from its mistakes. We can build a future where the mistakes of our forefathers are not visited upon our children." He proposed a covenant, a shared commitment to respect and understanding. He spoke of the need for open dialogue and honest engagement with differing beliefs. He emphasized confronting prejudice and intolerance within and outside their communities. The bishop, imam, and rabbi, initially skeptical, voiced their agreement. They recognized the audacity of Saladin's vision and its inherent nobility. They agreed to preach tolerance and understanding, encouraging their followers to engage with their neighbors and share their stories. The conversation continued late into the night, fueled by mint tea and a shared sense of purpose. Saladin proposed a radical idea, a council of representatives from each faith to advise on governance and ensure all communities' needs were heard. This council would be a forum for collaboration and problem-solving, not for airing grievances or jockeying for power. It would be a space where differences could be acknowledged and respected, common ground identified and built upon. The bishop, imam, and rabbi, though initially taken aback, recognized its wisdom. They understood that true peace required active participation from all segments of society. In the Sultan's garden, with the scent of jasmine in the air and stars twinkling overhead, the seeds of a radical experiment were sown. It was a fragile beginning, fraught with challenges and uncertainties. Yet, it was a testament to the power of human connection. Even in a city riven by centuries of conflict, hope could take root and flourish. A hush had fallen over Jerusalem, not the silence of fear but a different kind of quietude. It was the hush of a city catching its breath, a collective pause before a new movement. In the aftermath of Saladin's conquest, a remarkable transformation began to take root. The city, for so long a crucible of conflict, started to find a new rhythm, one born of coexistence and mutual respect. The streets, once teeming with armed men, were now filled with a different kind of energy. Merchants hawked their wares in a symphony of languages. The scent of spices, incense, and freshly baked bread mingled in the air, speaking of life and abundance. The echoes of prayer, once a source of division, now intertwined in a harmonious tapestry of faith. From the minarets, the muezzin's call to prayer soared heavenward, a beautiful melody washing over the city. In the synagogues, Hebrew prayers rose with renewed confidence, their ancient cadences a testament to the resilience of faith. News of the peace in Jerusalem built on mutual respect spread far and wide. Pilgrims flocked to witness this unprecedented coexistence. They saw Muslims, Christians, and Jews living side by side, working together. Saladin's peace was more than the absence of war, it was understanding and empathy. Salahu'd, the Lion of Islam, breathed his last in 1193. His passing was mourned not just by his subjects but by those whose lives he had touched across the divides of faith and culture. His legacy was not etched in gold or marble, but in the very fabric of the city he had so profoundly shaped. Saladin's dream, a dream of a Jerusalem where faith served as a bridge rather than a barrier, continued to resonate long after his passing.